Hello, today I'm joined by John Davis, Chief Executive Officer of Cordel. Cordel are a UK-listed technology company focused on the rail industry. The company's core technology uses AI to automate the inspection and maintenance of transport corridors, namely railway tracks. John, many thanks for joining me today.
Pleasure.
So it's been a while since we last caught up, but it's been a pretty successful 6 months or so. Can you just summarise the last 6 months and the momentum you've had over the recent times?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for having us, firstly. And secondly, I think we feel like we've made really great progress across 3 core areas. Firstly, in our commercial customer side, we've won a range of new contracts. So we've been able to talk about Genesee and Wyoming, a US Tier 2 railroad, which has a lot of companies across the US and gives us a lot of opportunity for the future. Secondly, we've built out the relationship we have with Tren Maya down in Mexico, which again feels like a really significant multi-year future opportunity for us. And we've also announced contracts in APAC with a company there and in the Middle East, both new regions for us over the course of the last 6 months. As well as that, I think we've made real progress in our product, so in the company itself, in terms of the technology readiness levels of the various propositions we have, and indeed in how we deliver those propositions to the customer. And finally, I think we've also made some progress on the credibility that we bring to the market. So with the approvals that we've had from Network Rail here in the UK, that's another endorsement of what Cordel is bringing to the rail industry.
Great. So progress across the globe, Middle East, Americas, Europe, UK. What specifically has been the catalyst for this? What's helping you to win this business?
So I think, again, I talk about 3 things that the company's been able to do very successfully over the course of the last 12 months. The first is I think we've built out the team in a really effective way. So starting in the US, I think we have a great VP of sales there, a guy called Tim Francis, who's brought a lot to us in terms of the network he has, his experience of the industry. But also then if we look into our Australian team, where we have the bulk of our engineers and our delivery capability, we have some really excellent folks there who are really driving the business to the next level. We're using that as well to enhance our business development efforts. So right now our CTO, Aaron Hoy, is over in the States. He'll be there for a couple of weeks, seeing customers and potential customers. I think also our proposition has really matured in the last 12 months as our products have become better fit for the market, really clear in terms of what we can do in vegetation management, in ballast management, in overhead line, in clearances, and increasingly in level crossings. And that, I think, has given us a really clear proposition that we can talk to customers about. And finally, I think our reputation is being enhanced, both by the approvals that I talked about earlier, but also I think as Tim in the States talks to more and more customers, I think there's a real sense that Cordel has something really exciting to bring to the market.
And what are your sort of key priorities over the course of the next 12 months? You're a relatively small team and you've won a lot of business. How are you going to balance executing on your existing customers with R&D and further business development and so on?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, and it's definitely something that I think about a lot. I think the progress we've made in our delivery capability has been really critical in building the foundation for how we can deliver for these new customers we have and how we can continue to focus on trying to win more. So for this year, we're really focused again on trying to maintain that sort of roughly 40% revenue growth, but ideally to do that and break even into the bargain. Now that is prior to the recent investment we took, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that profitable growth, getting to somewhere in the 6 to 6.5 million of revenue for this year, is what we're really focused on for FY25.
Interesting. And in terms of R&D, you've recently raised £1 million to accelerate development of some of your technologies. Can you discuss that?
Yeah, sure. So we did a Rathbones-led investment of £1 million, which has given us a really exciting opportunity to invest quicker in the 3D object recognition that we've made some recent progress in. And as I mentioned, we're looking to break even aside from that, but with that investment, we'll be able to get some extra resources, both in the technology team, in the AI capability, and in the front line in terms of talking about those services, particularly in the US market. And it's really focused on a piece of regulation in the US called Positive Train Control, PTC. And it's something that we believe we've now got the capabilities to go ahead and build out a proposition. Our aim is to have that ready for the second half of calendar year 25, so effectively as we go into our FY26.
Great. And then now turning towards the financial perspective, you've laid a nice platform with all of these new customer wins. What should we be expecting financially from Cordel over the course of the next 12, 24 months?
Yeah, so this year, Cavendish have us slated to make a 6.2 million revenue. It'll be at a small loss based on the investment we're making in this 3D object recognition technology. But after that, we think we can maintain that 30 to 40% revenue growth over time. Really, I guess, targeting to get to around £10 million of revenue by somewhere around FY27, FY28. In our market, we really don't need hundreds of customers. If we've got somewhere around 20 customers by FY27, FY28, maybe 5 of those similar to the sort of deals we have with an Amtrak today, which might be worth the better part of £1 million to us each year, we can really see our way to build out a business that gets to £10 million of revenue relatively quickly. And that actually doesn't even take into account the opportunities we see in the PTC world, which we think are additive to that. So we see a lot to be really optimistic about into the future.
And now turning towards the use cases, one of the very interesting things about your technology has always been the range of use cases that you can apply it to. Can you talk about how that's panning out for you?
Yeah, sure. So what's been interesting about our business is we've tended to win customers based on one use case only. So Amtrak is a classic example, a 6.5-year contract, $6.7 million of revenue, but only servicing clearances for Amtrak. So we always see an opportunity to broaden that in the future to offer them things like vegetation, ballast, overhead line, all of these other modules that we have to offer. And I think I would say that those modules are maturing really, really interestingly for Cordel. We launched our website at cordel.ai recently, and we feel like we've done a nice job of defining not only the platform that we have, the repository for all the data, which we call Cordel Connect, but also those modules that build on top of that platform. And I think where we see that going in the future is some opportunities for us around building out the level crossings proposition that we've made some progress on in Australia, but also focusing on this PTC world in the US, which is another piece of asset identification, which is a step forward for our platform.
Great to hear things going so well. John, many thanks for joining me today.
Great pleasure. Thanks, Dan.